Welcome everybody to the Business Spotlight series, the series designed to showcase Portsmouth's biggest and brightest businesses and the people behind them. So today I'm joined by Ben from Millstream Productions. Ben, hello.
Hi, Matt.
How are you doing?
Very good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No, you're welcome. Should we kick things off then? Do you just want to give the listeners an idea of what it is you guys do?
Yeah, let's do it. So Millstream Productions is a creative studio based just outside Portsmouth. And we do predominantly video production. That's always been our bread and butter.
Yeah.
Video, but we do animation, photography, podcasting, and drone flying as well.
Amazing. Which one of those you enjoy doing the most?
Oh, I don't know. I think I like the animation personally because it's the one I can't do.
Right. Okay.
So I can do all the others
Yeah.
personally, but I can't do anything with animation. I'm useless. So whenever Fern does our animations, I'm always just like
captivated.
Yeah, like how have you done that?
Yeah.
It looks stunning. I quite like the dark art behind animation.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of companies want to use animation?
More and more, yeah. Certainly during COVID, it was all working remotely, working in teams. We're getting asked to do a lot of things where you can't shoot somebody or film somebody.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say shoot somebody, should I? Really? out of context, that sounds weird. Well, you can't go and film somebody. So I thought animation is a great way to do it, actually.
Yeah,
so
nice.
record the audio on Zoom or something.
Yeah.
And then animate the story instead.
So it's just something which is out of your skill remit. So you're just
absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. So what is it that brought you into business in the first place? What is it that drove you to start their business?
Yeah, it's a good question. That so I never really wanted to be a business person or be in business. I always wanted to be in creating content and making videos. That was always my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 20 or so, I was finishing up uni, and the options for me in the industry was to go to Brighton or go to London or Manchester.
Yeah, okay.
And
where the big creative agencies are and creative people as well, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. And hopefully try and get a job there doing what I want to do. But I didn't want to do that. Portsmouth is my home.
Right.
And
were you raised there?
I was raised in the Witterings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely area, isn't it? So.
Yeah, from the Witterings. Went to school in Chichester. Parents and family are all still over that way.
Yeah.
And then I kind of say Portsmouth as my home because it's the bigger city in the area.
Yeah.
When you're on holiday, I always say Portsmouth because it's easier.
Yeah,
people have heard of it.
Most people know where Portsmouth is, don't they? Yeah.
No one's heard of the Witterings. So I say Portsmouth, but I never wanted to move away from this area. This region's kind of my home.
Yeah.
I love the sea. I love being on the coast.
Yeah.
I love the South Downs. I love Chichester and Portsmouth, both amazing cities for different reasons. And I didn't want to move. So I thought, well, let's try, if I can, do something in my passion, which is filmmaking, but here.
Yeah.
Although I would know it'd be a slow start potentially to try and get the ball rolling on a business, it's still worth it, I think, to me, to stay here.
Yeah, nice. One thing, because obviously we met the other day properly at a networking event, didn't we? And one of the biggest things which stood out for me is, yes, a large part of what you do is filmmaking, but then it's actually the storytelling aspect of it. Just tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So like storytelling is everything, and over the last 5 years, mainly I think since 18, 19 and so on, it's become the most important thing in marketing is how do you tell a story.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's a recent idea. It's been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
The idea of telling a story, you have to do that, but I think it's far more prevalent now than ever, and people are so used to seeing content and so used to seeing an influx of imagery that unless it's going to captivate you or spark something inside you, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, in an abundance world of like content, the best way to get through to someone is to resonate with a good story.
Yeah, I suppose it's driving the emotion as well out of it, and it's what you're using to produce a story, isn't it? It's the people behind it, and it's the emotion that they have around the business or around whatever it is they're trying to tell. Do you find that people struggle to tell their own story in a way where, so you'll go and you'll try and build the story for them? Do you work with brands where it's hard to pull that story out with them? It's harder for them to resonate with it?
I think people get imposter syndrome a little bit.
Right.
Certainly about being filmed. When you turn up with cameras, people are quite scared about it. Once you get it, a bit like this podcast, once it's recorded, it's recorded.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You can't
forever.
Exactly. You can't really control Z that.
Yeah,
and go back. So there's a bit of apprehension about people being recorded, and therefore people telling a story, they might be a bit more reserved or guarded about it. The trick is to do a lot of the pre-production up front. And our co-founder Dan's got a saying which is pre-prod is God. and
Okay.
and that mantra we live by.
Yeah.
So it's I could speak to anybody in a business and they might be quite scared about telling their story or unsure how to go about it. That's great. Just do more pre-production and let's try and get that story out of them before a camera even goes near their office or their building or whatever.
Right. And what does that look like? What does that pre-production stage look like? What thread are you trying to pull on there to sort of ease it out with people?
Yeah, it's that's a great question. It really is like it's more than what makes you unique. It's kind of like, why are you unique? Mm-hmm. And what is it about you that makes you different to everybody else?
Yeah.
If the answer's boring,
yeah.
for lack of a better term, if it is quite boring, then it's like, okay, well, what is about you personally?
Yeah.
That makes your business interesting. And
that's it. And I think we can probably resonate with that quite a lot, because when we're talking with customers about trying to identify what their USP is, a lot of the time we'll speak to them and they'll be like, oh, well, we give the best service. We give the best quality work. And it's like, well, that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say, do you know what? We give really shoddy service.
Yeah, no one says we're second best.
Exactly.
I'm proud of it.
Exactly. So it's really trying to get them to think about and identify, really, what is it that makes us different? And sometimes it takes a lot of thought to go through, but then really trying to understand how you distinguish yourself from, well, for us, it will be your competitors and other people within your industry, and what really makes you different. Again, it's a similar process to really try and help them identify what really does make them different.
Absolutely, yeah. And sometimes that's not even for us, that's not even the story.
Yeah.
Our story at Millstream is very different to actually what we do. It's unrelated to what we do. And whether we're a video company or a fish and chip shop, our story is still relevant to us. And the bit that we do, the bit that we're known for, actually is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so I never really lead with what we do, because what we do is quite obvious. We create content.
It's the outcome.
It's the outcome. It's the why our culture is the way our culture is.
Yeah.
That's our story. That's our uniqueness. And so that's the bit I lean into when sharing what our story is.
Yeah. Okay. So talk to you a little bit more about the culture then. I know we touched on it when we met the other day, but just talk me through how that develops and how the culture of the organisation has grown in the years that you've been there.
Yeah, sure. So it was never wasn't really a thing that we developed or tried to do. So the business was started by myself and my business partner Dan. Best friends, have been for a while before starting the business, and I was I was around 20, 21 or so, making videos in Chichester, promotional videos, and Dan was a community and documentary filmmaker.
Right.
So he was coming at films from a very different way.
Yeah.
So he was making big films, long form documentaries, really human centric stuff, and I was making promotional videos for brands. Fast paced, kind of flashy, they're very, very short term projects. And we started working together for a couple of years, and then we decided we're enjoying working together as we are. Let's join forces and let's start a business. Dan's passionate about this area as well. This is his home, and we needed to start something here. We knew that was obvious. Didn't want to go anywhere else. And we wanted to start that London-style agency here on the South Coast.
Yeah, and you really get that when you walk into your offices. You really get that vibe.
Oh, cheers!
It looks like a creative space when you come in, but then you've got the beauty of Emsworth right outside your door.
Yeah, it's a real juxtaposition of fast-paced energy and creativity, and then everything slows down and you get into Emsworth.
Yeah.
So me and Dan kind of started out making these projects, and our kind of USP initially was I always had an eye for cinematography, and I wanted every frame of our videos to look beautiful and look really nice. I wanted you to pause the video at any moment and say that's worthy going up on the wall.
Yeah, be like visually striking.
Yeah. And Dan was like, I want every word to be chiseled and coined and to have meaning and have sentiment and have emotion behind it.
Right.
And so there's real kind of style meets substance.
Yeah.
That's what we strive for. And so we set out with a brand identity that was doing that, and we did work in anything from a corporate company through to a school to a national organisation to charities, and they all had that same feeling of like it looks pretty, but also it kind of tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah, okay.
And that was cool. We bummed along for a number of years doing that, slowly growing the business, and then a couple of things happened. I've always suffered with mental health problems, issues, and was diagnosed with severe depression around 2017-18. And did a few kind of quite silly things around that time, but got a lot of help off the back of that. But I was in a bit of a bad way, a bit of a dark place. And around the same sort of time, Dan was diagnosed with cancer, terminal cancer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we're like, oh, okay, so we've got these kind of two quite big things in our business. Just as the business is doing quite well as it could, it wasn't the problem. It was me and Dan that were the biggest worry, biggest threat to our business. And so Dan actually had to sadly step down from the business in 2019, right at the end of that year, a couple months before lockdown. So I was on my own going into lockdown, but supported by an amazing team, Lewis and Ollie, Mariana as well, amazing guys. And off we went, and that was fine. Then COVID happened, and I received the help that I received. And I'm the person you know today, and I've not had a wobble now for a number of years, quite a few years actually. So I'm doing really well. And Dan,
it's great to hear. It really is great to hear.
Thanks, mate. And Dan miraculously is still with us.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
He's on immunotherapy, which is helping with his cancer. He's no longer terminal. He's now livable.
Great news.
So that's phenomenal. So after stepping down for 3 years and exiting the business, he's now come back to the business.
Oh, amazing.
It's awesome. And he's part-time, but growing his hours around his health.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the health has to take priority, but I mean, I'm guessing it must feel great for him to be back. In some capacity, just to be in amongst it all again, and
it's amazing to have him back as well, because he's come back, and the role he's doing now is community documentary filmmaker. So he's producing all of our community projects, and so he's sourcing out new opportunities, working with young people again, working with schools and colleges, working with National Lottery funding, and doing those kind of long form projects that we started out doing. And he's got free rein to go and make those projects happen. But the team's much bigger now. There's 12 of us.
I was going to say, when the gent was showing me around, that just the size. You got massive space. You got a big team of people around you, and everything else. It's brilliant.
Thanks,
it really is. Yeah. So obviously that's one of my questions. Obviously that we spoke about before was one of the biggest challenges, which I think is probably what you've just gone into there. Like sort of coming out the back of it. Then what do you focus on now? What keeps you going?
Yeah, so I think all that kind of feeds into our culture and what is our story and what drives us. And in doing I put together a little vision meeting a couple of years ago for new starters that joined us during lockdown, and we went from 5 to 10 quite quickly in scale. And I thought, the 5 that have joined us recently don't know who we are. So I put together a vision meeting, and in writing it, I realised actually I can't really talk about what the future is going to hold unless I talk about what the past held. And so I did a recap on what the past held, and in just thinking about it, actually, with my story and Dan's story, and both of our health challenges, we may not have a business here. There's every chance that this business probably shouldn't be here, to be honest, but it is. And certainly one of the reasons for that is I've had very good mental health support, and so I've purposely tried to pivot the business from being a video company to being a mental health first business, and a video company second. And so that's my ethos, and that's everyone that comes through the door learns that and is told that. And it's our priority as a business to support each other's mental health first. And that's our day jobs. And then the second thing is to create videos
brilliant.
and photography.
No, it's fantastic. And I think it's sort of what we go through with our clients. I think so many people, I mean, vision statement, mission statement, culture statement, all of these things are sort of drilled into people, whether or not actually people take the time to really get them going and really think about them and really sort of incorporate them into the organisation is, my gut feeling is that is few and far between. I think the people that really take the time to really understand who they are and where they want to go, and a large part of understanding who you are right now is understanding where you've been. So I think the fact that you actually go deep into the history of the company and everything which has happened, as good or as bad as everything which you've gone through today, I think it's a massive part of the onboarding process.
It is, and I think a person is the fabric of their upbringing, and I think a business is the fabric of its upbringing as well. And certainly, neither Dan and I are business people. We're filmmakers, and we like making content. We like chatting to people. The business bit is accidental, and everything you see is by making mistakes first, and then coming out the hedges on the other side with a few scratches, but still standing. That's how we've kind of like built the business. And therefore, the fabric of it is not by, I haven't got an MBA or anything like that. It's purely this is who we are. We are authentic about that.
Yeah.
We're very honest and open about the dark side of our characters as well, and the mental health problems we've got, physical health problems as well. So let's lead with that. And let's just bring that to the table. Bring it to work every Monday morning.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling, then bring that struggling self to work as well, and know that you've got the support here at work
100%,
to look after you during your 8 hours or your 40-hour week. Know that this is actually a safe space to come.
Yeah.
And you can bring yourself and not be looked down upon for bringing your authentic self to work.
Yeah. No, and I think it's like we were speaking about before, and sort of what I alluded to in the intro, like with the type of work that we do, we are business coaches. We're a coaching and training provider. But what really drives me is working with the people, the people in the businesses.
Yeah.
Like the business, I always say is that all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to align business owners' business goals with their personal goals. And to do that, you have to really understand the person that's sitting in front of you every week or every other week, to really understand, one, what drives them, what's going to drive them to continue to drive the business forward, and also what got them to start the business in the first place. And I think what we find is that so many people lose sight of why they got into business in the first place, that they're just bogged down in the day-to-day. They're trying to either firefight or they're just being overcome by the business itself, that sometimes they lose sight of why they got into business. And don't get me wrong, like it does vary. Some people want the car, the house, the watch. Some people want that. Some guys just want to pick the kids up from school every day at 3:00, and they don't have the opportunity to do it. They don't have the opportunity to escape work, even if it was just for that time to go and pick the kids up, but they still find themselves bogged down into work, into the evening and into the weekends and everything else, where they just then lose sight of why am I doing this? This isn't the life which I wanted to create myself. I did this because I wanted.
It's easy done though, isn't it? It's easy to fall down a trap.
And like we see it,
become a slave to your own business.
That's it. And like we see it so much, and it's sort of the thing which drove me to take the step, which I've done, is because I can help you with the finances in the business. We can help you with your sales, with your marketing and whatever it is. But really, I want you to have that extra couple of holidays a year.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to pick the kids up from school every day at 3:00. I want you to make sure that you can turn your work phone off at a weekend and be present with your family. That's the thing which drives me. And it's working with the people. Behind the business, which enables me to do that.
I bet they'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah, no, they do.
Well,
and
thank you, Matt, for saying it is okay to have a holiday. It is okay to take some time off and not feel guilty as a business owner for taking time out of the business.
No, it is, and I think a lot of people. I think guilt does play a massive part in it. I think fear plays a massive part in it. I think there is some structural elements to the business which sometimes does make it difficult, but those are usually the things which are easy to overcome.
Yeah.
What's the more difficult things to overcome is actually the belief or the fear or the scarcity which comes with, if I leave my business is going to shut down. So I can't.
Yeah, which is a real fear. And I didn't really take a proper holiday for 10 years in building the business. And I think that was partly, it's a big part of my mental health collapse.
Yeah.
I missed out on so many life events because I sacrificed that for work. And I would rather go and do that project on a Sunday afternoon than go to this party or my sister's event or something. I would for some reason prioritise work, thinking that was the thing to idolise and promote. And in going through my depression and the counselling, actually no, it's not. Life is about the other bits, and work should support the Sunday afternoon with your family and all that stuff. So I've learned it. I've learned it too late. Well, actually, I've learned it.
No, not too late.
Which is the main thing. Yeah. The point is, I've learned it now. But so one of the big things that happened to me was I realised I'm quite high functioning when I'm at work. I think all business owners are, and we're all probably slightly ADHD or something.
Right.
I have to be busy with multiple things and flicking between different projects.
Yeah.
I can't sit and concentrate on one thing for too long. I have to think, I'll go and start or finish that other task. And I actually end up starting loads of tasks without finishing anything. That's what a team's for, I guess. Yeah. So I was always like flicking around, and because I am quite high functioning, I was knackered by Friday evening. I'd get home and not in a good way. I wouldn't look after my physical health. Yeah. It's easy to crack open a can of beer and have a beer or a takeaway. Saturday and Sunday, you're just so exhausted, you don't do anything productive. Go to football, and that was never good. Pompey fan, so it's always a struggle. Certainly was, 5-6 years ago. Yeah. And then and then kind of I realised actually I need to cut my hours down.
Yeah.
And so I gave up Fridays, and I kind of ring fenced them just for my own mental health well-being.
Yeah.
And my way of getting around that is to go for a long cycle ride.
Yeah.
And just go on my bike for a bit.
Because you recently did Fratton to Reading, is that right?
Yeah, I did Fratton to Reading to Fratton.
Right.
Again.
Oh, and back.
And back,
oh,
yeah.
okay. I missed that bit out. Okay.
Yeah, it was about 120 miles that
Right.
day. And I love that sort of stuff. It's real headspace for a day.
100%.
And that helps. But in doing that, two things sort of happened. One was I came to work on Monday morning much sharper.
Mm-hmm.
Friday I always process client projects, and it gives me time away from the business to think, how can we make that video better than any other video we've seen?
Yeah.
What can we do to make that creative or that spark that makes it different? It gave me the space to think about that stuff.
Do you find you have your best ideas when you're out on the bike?
When you can't write them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always when there's no pen nearby.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. Yeah, they come to me when you kind of like, riding along, thinking about nothing else, and suddenly you think, oh, maybe I should film it like this.
Yeah.
Or do it like this, or suggest that. And the other thing was, because I wasn't working Fridays, I had to empower the team here to step up and to take more responsibility.
Yeah.
And so I sort of shared my responsibilities a lot with the team here, and they've just grown and developed so well in that time. And I think it's easy as a business owner to take all the burden on yourself, on your own shoulders.
Yeah.
But until you sort of share that workload with your team and trust them.
Yeah. I think trust is a big thing. Trust is probably the biggest thing. I think a lot of people, they have this almost ethos where if you want it done right, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
This sort of mentality, and it's just not the way that people need to run anymore. No. Like there's such a plethora of skills and people around that actually people want responsibility. People want to feel trusted. People want to feel pushed and stretched. And so I think it's good that people like yourself recognise it and go, right, do you know what, guys? I'm going to take Fridays off. You need to step up.
You're going to run the ship on Fridays. Yeah. So 20% of the week they run it. And they do a better job than I do.
Yeah.
And I've started having holidays now.
Yeah.
And maybe a few too many, but I like to get away. When you come back, like business is thriving.
Yeah.
It does better than when I'm around. So
do you turn your phone off when you go away?
No, of course not.
No.
I like to, but I can't. No. It's always that kind of feeling.
That's one step too far.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Beth is our project coordinator, and she's phenomenal, and she monitors everyone's emails. And so any client communications that come through, if I'm not around, she'll pick it up really quick.
Right.
And so she intercepts work before I can access it.
Yeah.
Wherever I am. So she's fantastic at giving me that time back to recover, recharge, and come back better.
No, brilliant. No, it's great you've got that level of team around you. So moving forward then, what's the dream? What's in store for Millstream?
Oh, blimey. What's the dream? It's a good question. It's a difficult one to answer because I think the dreams change on a weekly basis for me. I love having a business that looks after its people.
Right.
And I think I'm most proud of the people here.
Amazing.
Our editor Scarlett embodies a lot of the values of the business, and Scarlett didn't go to university, didn't go for formal qualifications.
Yeah.
And was working part-time here, but she had a real passion for filmmaking, and she's been with us for 5 years now, and the growth that she's had in 5 years is stunning.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And she's become an incredibly talented video editor, but an all-round talented sorry, I'm ringing here.
No, you're fine.
That's professional, isn't it? Sorry. I always say turn your phones off. Scarlett's become an amazing all-round professional creative, and she's doing a lot more in the business now. Mm-hmm. And I think the future for Millstream is if we can keep growing people like Scarlett and Ollie and Lewis and Kieran and everyone else just to become amazing filmmakers.
Yeah.
Lauren, amazing filmmaker, a real all-rounder. Darren as well. I need to know. I've named like 9 out of my 12 people.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't take it personally.
No, we'll edit the names out. It's fine. It's not personal. It's just the point is, I think the future for Millstream, I want the team to grow really well. I want our work to always be interesting. It's not always the case when you're a service-based business.
Yeah.
You service the clients that come to you. But I'd like to see every client as an opportunity to make amazing work. Mm-hmm. That excites my team as much as it excites the client to receive that work as well. So even if it's quite on the face of it, a simplistic project or quite a straightforward, you do it like that.
Yeah.
No, actually, can we do it in a different way? And can we do it in a way that is exciting to the market and to the audience, but also to us as creators?
And how receptive are your clients normally when in taking that sort of direction and advice? Do you get some which are very, no, this is exactly how we want it, there's no movement at all, or are most people generally quite open and will take the direction?
I think it's a real mixture. I think, a lot of people will come to us and say, I've got a clear idea of what I want. Can you make that happen? And we can add the 10% professionalism to it here and there, add that kind of like little spark that makes it from good to great. But others come and say, I need something, I don't know what. I'm like, okay, well, let's go back to stage one. Who's your audience?
Yeah.
And how can we talk to them in the best way? And I think the benefit for our agency now, because we're not just video, we're animation or photography, and podcasting as well, is sometimes a video is not the best format for them anymore.
For podcasts?
For a client, if they have a challenge, I don't need to always be promoting video anymore. I might say actually a photography shoot is your friend on this one, or let's do a 6-part podcast series on it, because that will get a better traction than what you're trying to achieve with video. So it's nice having the flexibility to guide their needs in a better way. Yeah. If they're convinced they want video, but actually no, like videos would be a waste of money at this point in your journey. Yeah. Let's do a podcast instead, and then do video next year. Yeah. So I like having that freedom to help them in that way.
No, absolutely. I think we're sort of on a similar journey ourselves as a business. Like this spotlight series which we've done is sort of evolving over time and over each interview. And I mean, this is a new setup, everything that we've decided to go for. And I think it's the right move for us now is to move to this sort of level of production in the video content that we're starting to put out. So
what is it you're trying to link together with the business spotlight?
I just want to showcase as many Portsmouth businesses as we can for it. I mean, for anybody listening and for yourself, I know ActionCOACH itself is a franchise, but we are independently run as a business. So we're a family business predominantly. My dad started the business sort of, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this now, 20, between 15 and 20 years ago or so. And basically, we're local, so all of our clients will sit in the Hampshire and West Sussex area. So my main goal is to just try and sort of showcase as many of those businesses as I can, the guys in the area, and really to try and understand a little bit more about the people and the leaders behind them. Because you'll see socials, you'll see the website, you'll see everything else, but very rarely unless you're out at networking events or out in society, you don't really come across a lot of the leaders there, and I think it deserves to be showcased. Especially for me, like I'm similar to you, I say Portsmouth as well, but I was raised in Havant. So I've spent a lot of my time in Portsmouth. I've lived in the city now for around 12 years or so, and it's a place that I love. Yeah, it's a place that I spend all of my time. It's a place where I work. It's a place where I live. So, I mean, the more that I can try and showcase the city and showcase the people behind it, and using the businesses as a vessel to do that is a big driver for me.
That's brilliant. It's a special city, isn't it? It's a different city. Yeah. There's no other city in the country like Portsmouth. And it's got amazing businesses. Yeah. As well, really good businesses.
Yeah, it does.
Worth talking to.
No, 100%. And I mean, we see it through our clients. Like they do amazing work. Yeah. They really do. They do amazing work. They get great results. They're boosting the city. They're boosting employment in the city. They're getting great results. They're growing as people. And just through the work that I do and that we do as a business, you get access to those leaders already. So I just want to try and explore that even more and try and get to know as many as I can.
It's quite nice. You get to peek behind the curtain, don't you? The businesses that you work in. Yeah. You don't just see what the customer sees for this organisation. You get to see actually what the C-suite looks like as well, and that kind of hierarchy of businesses.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I think we very similar to maybe you might see your accountant. We become almost trusted advisors to our clients. So whenever there's a challenge or something that they can't quite figure out, we're usually the first people that they come to. So I respect that massively from them, that we're trusted to do that. But yeah, you see a lot and you hear a lot of stories. But it's part of the fun. I mean, like no day's the same. I mean, no challenge is ever the same. The way that we've dealt with the challenge with one client might be a similar challenge, but a completely wrong way to handle it with them. So it's always good to keep it challenging, and it's always different. Yeah, put it that way. It's good. But no, Ben, I think we can wrap it there. That was great. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been great to talk to you. It's been great to understand more about your journey, where you've been. Thank you for being so open, more importantly. And yeah, it's been fantastic having you on.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Lovely.